Ever wondered how some NFL teams manage to sabotage their own future? From trading away Hall of Famers to mortgaging entire drafts for unproven rookies, these trades are so shocking they're almost unbelievable. Today, we're diving into the dumbest NFL trades that actually happened. Mistakes that changed careers, franchises, and NFL history forever. Part 8. The trade that built a monster. In 1989, the Minnesota Vikings believed they were one superstar away from a Super Bowl run, so they went all in and traded for Cowboys running back Herschel Walker. They gave up multiple players and, more dangerously, a treasure chest of conditional draft picks they assumed would never be used. But they didn't realize Cowboys coach Jimmy Johnson was playing 4D chess. Johnson's secret plan was brutal. Cut almost every player Minnesota sent over. Know why? Because doing so would automatically trigger the draft pick compensation, unlocking 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and even more hidden bonuses. The Vikings accidentally gifted the Cowboys the greatest rebuilding package in NFL history. Those meaningless draft picks, they became Hall of Fame Emmitt Smith, Darren Woodson, Russell Maryland, and the core of a dynasty that won 3 Super Bowls in the 1990s. And the Vikings? Walker gave them just 4.1 yards per carry, never won them a single playoff game, and was gone in 3 seasons. Minnesota thought they were buying a championship. Instead, they accidentally funded one of the greatest dynasties ever for their rival. The NFL still calls it the dumbest trade of all time. Part 7. Cleveland's $230 million burned alive. In 2022, the Cleveland Browns didn't just make a bold move. They made what many now call the most reckless gamble in NFL history. Despite over 24 sexual misconduct allegations against Deshaun Watson, Cleveland not only traded 3 first-round picks and more to the Houston Texans, but they also gave Watson a fully guaranteed $230 million contract, the largest guarantee in NFL history. And what did they get in return? A quarterback who barely played, and played terribly when he did. Watson has suited up for just 19 of a possible 51 games and has statistically been one of the worst starters in the league when active. The Browns didn't just mortgage their future, they set it on fire. Houston, meanwhile, said thank you and built a contender. They used Cleveland's picks to draft Pro Bowl edge rusher Will Anderson Jr., secure elite weapons like Tank Dell, and most importantly, position themselves to draft C.J. Stroud, now one of the NFL's brightest young stars. Cleveland thought they were buying a savior. Instead, they handed Houston the keys to the future and got a $230 million nightmare in return. Part 6. The day New Orleans nuked its future. In 1999, the New Orleans Saints did something so reckless it still gets mocked 25 years later. Head coach Mike Ditka became obsessed with college star Ricky Williams to the point where he publicly announced he'd trade his entire draft just to get him. Everyone thought he was bluffing. Then draft night came and he actually did it. To move up just 7 spots from pick 12 to 5, the Saints gave Washington all 7 of their 1999 picks, plus 2 more picks from 2000. That's 8 total picks for 1 running back. The results were nothing short of tragic. Williams struggled with injuries and social anxiety, famously doing media interviews with his helmet still on to avoid eye contact. Instead of becoming their savior, he became a symbol of panic. The Saints crashed to a 3-13 record, and Mike Ditka was fired before the year even ended. Worse, the Saints had no draft picks left to rebuild with. Washington, meanwhile, quietly used New Orleans' panic to stack up multiple starters and long-term assets. The Saints thought they were buying a superstar. They actually sold their entire future for a single gamble and lost. What do you think? Part 5. Denver paid a fortune for failure. In 2022, the Denver Broncos believed Russell Wilson was the missing piece to a Super Bowl run. So they didn't just trade big, they went nuclear. Denver sent 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-rounder, plus 3 players including Noah Fant and Drew Lock to the Seattle Seahawks. And before Wilson even played a single snap, Denver handed him a $245 million contract with $165 million fully guaranteed, instantly making it one of the riskiest bets in NFL history. And then everything collapsed. Wilson played the worst football of his career, confused, slow, and shockingly unproductive. Denver's offense turned into a meme factory. After just 2 painful seasons, they were forced to cut him while eating an NFL record $85 million dead cap hit. That's not just a mistake. That's financial arson. Seattle, meanwhile, didn't just survive, it thrived. They replaced Wilson with Geno Smith, who immediately outplayed him. And with Denver's draft haul, they picked franchise cornerstones like Charles Cross and Devin Witherspoon, elite foundational pieces. Denver thought they were buying a superstar. Instead, they funded Seattle's second rebuild and their own humiliation. Part 4. The Hall of Famer they gave away. What if a team traded away a Hall of Famer before he ever played a real game? In 1976, the Houston Oilers made one of the quickest and dumbest decisions in NFL history. They drafted wide receiver Steve Largent in the 4th round, watched him in just 4 preseason games, and decided he wasn't good enough. So they traded him to the Seattle Seahawks for a future 8th round pick, a return so small it was practically an insult. Seattle, on the other hand, knew exactly what they were getting. Largent went on to become a first-ballot Hall of Famer, catching 819 passes for 13,089 yards and 100 touchdowns over 14 legendary seasons. He became a 7-time Pro Bowler, the face of the franchise, and is still one of the most beloved players in Seahawks history. Houston's return? That 8th round pick turned into Steve Davis, another wide receiver who never played a single NFL game. They traded away a future superstar for someone who didn't even make it onto a field. This wasn't just a bad trade, it was a catastrophic talent misread and a free Hall of Famer for Seattle. Part 3. The quarterback Atlanta regretted forever. What if a franchise traded away a future legend before he ever got a real chance? In 1992, the Atlanta Falcons made a decision that would haunt them forever. After rookie quarterback Brett Favre threw just 4 passes, and 2 of them were interceptions, Atlanta lost faith immediately. When the Green Bay Packers offered a first-round pick, the Falcons didn't hesitate. They shipped Favre away before he ever got to prove anything. What happened next became NFL history. In Green Bay, Favre became a Super Bowl champion, won 3 consecutive league MVP awards, made 11 Pro Bowl appearances, and eventually became a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He didn't just revive the Packers, he helped define an entire era of football. And Atlanta's reward for their impatience? They used that first-round pick to draft Tony Smith, a running back who lasted just 1 season and never took another offensive snap again. It was a franchise-altering failure, the kind coaches still warn about to this day. Atlanta didn't just lose a quarterback, they accidentally gave away a dynasty. Part 2. The legend Indianapolis let slip away. Why would a franchise trade away an MVP-caliber superstar right before his prime? In 1999, the Indianapolis Colts made one of the most unforgivable mistakes in NFL history. Despite Marshall Faulk being the heart of their offense, they traded him to the St. Louis Rams over minor contract disagreements. And what did they get in return? Just a 2nd and a 5th round pick, barely anything for a player already recognized as elite. What happened next was pure football legend. Faulk instantly exploded in St. Louis, becoming the engine behind the greatest show on turf. He racked up over 2,000 yards from scrimmage for 3 straight seasons, won NFL MVP in 2000, and helped the Rams win Super Bowl 34. He unarguably became one of the most unstoppable offensive forces the league has ever seen. And the Colts? Those mid-round picks they got in return barely made an impact. They didn't just lose a good player, they let go of a generational talent at the exact moment he was about to reach football immortality. Indianapolis didn't just trade away a running back. They traded away a dynasty-defining legend. Part 1. The draft disaster that cost millions. What happens when a team bets 3 first-round picks on a quarterback with barely any experience? In 2021, the San Francisco 49ers pulled off one of the most shocking draft trades in recent memory. They traded 3 first-round picks, 2021, 2022, and 2023, and a 3rd-round pick to the Miami Dolphins just to move up to number 3 overall and select quarterback Trey Lance, a player with only 17 college starts. It was a massive gamble on raw potential. So did it pay off? Not even close. Lance managed just 4 NFL starts before suffering a severe ankle injury. By 2023, the 49ers traded him to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy, a lightly regarded rookie, emerged as the true starter, saving the franchise from disaster almost entirely for free. Miami, on the other hand, turned the 49ers draft capital into multiple star players, including Jalen Waddle and assets used to acquire Tyreek Hill. What the 49ers thought was a franchise-altering move became a cautionary tale. a short-lived quarterback experiment at an enormous cost. San Francisco didn't just lose a trade. They mortgaged their future for a fleeting dream. Which trade do you think takes the crown for the absolute worst? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around because the NFL's history is full of shocking moves you won't believe actually happened.